We've got two different teams kind of going in opposite directions as far as injuries are concerned. Ohio State getting healthy, Wisconsin still not so much. Let's preview Badgers and Buckeyes. I think Wisconsin was holding their breath, crossing their fingers that Jackson Smith and Jigba and Julian Fleming and their injuries might last a little bit longer, but they were good last week when the Buckeyes put up 77 points. Oof! You look at Wisconsin on defense, their top corner coming into the season, Alexander Smith. He's been hurt for their non-conference games, and he will be out for this game against Ohio State. Boy, you talk about two different directions there for the passing game, and man, this passing game is right on track. And we saw against Notre Dame that this is a team that can line up at the line of scrimmage and can be physical. This is a team that can be tough. Something that we didn't think was the case last season for Ohio State. Just an added dimension to their offense. But as it pertains to Wisconsin, can you say they transfer Jay Shaw? He's now their top corner. He has been so far this season. There's a lot of receivers more than just one out there, right? There's a lot of receivers spread across this formation. John Torchio at safety. I think Wisconsin's going to have a tough time defending the pass. I really do. They could have some success defending the run. I feel like their front, Keanu Benton, Nick Herbig, Turner, and others in the linebacking core, I think could do a solid job defending the run. But man, now that Ohio State can do both, run the ball and throw the ball, they can pick and choose what they want to do and when they want to do it. And I believe the running game, that Ohio State could have a good day, but I think Wisconsin will do a decent job defending the run. But man, I think Ohio State's going to throw it all over. I just don't see a way, unless Nick Herbig gets in there for like 4 sacks, and really disrupts the passer. I don't see a way where Wisconsin defends and even contains this Ohio State passing attack. That's really hard for me to imagine right now. Wisconsin on the offensive side of the football, right? If this were last year's team, a team where maybe Ohio State wasn't as tough, wasn't as physical, you saw teams like Michigan and Oregon run it down their throat, I'd say, yeah, maybe Wisconsin's got a chance up front. Not so much this year. You look back at that Notre Dame game. Say what you want about Notre Dame, okay, and what they've done so far this season, but Ohio State held Notre Dame to just 76 yards on the ground in that game, 2.6 yards per carry. They stifled that Notre Dame rushing attack. I will say, I will go on the record saying this Wisconsin rushing attack is a better rushing attack than the University of Notre Dame. But still, I look at how Wisconsin performed against Washington State, right? This isn't a team that's busting off 200 or 300 yards rushing per game, okay? This is a team that's maybe started off a little bit slow running the football. Graham Mertz is improved at the quarterback position. I can tell that already. But man, this is also a very much improved Ohio State defense. That front, I think, is going to give troubles to this Wisconsin offensive line. This is not your father's Badger offensive line, right? Bob Bostad is coming back as the O-line coach. He's had his work cut out for him so far this season. You look at the tape against Washington State, they were able to do things up front against that Badger offensive line. And Ohio State is a lot more talented on the defensive line than Washington State. You can look at this game from any angle that you want, and any angle that you look at it from, it's an Ohio State win, probably by a couple of scores. Wisconsin really suffered a big-time setback against Washington State. You look back at the tape and you really watch that game, and it really opens your eyes to things for Wisconsin. And it's so weird saying this, but maybe their biggest concern on offense might be their offensive line. I know their passing game might be up there as well. But their offensive line isn't what it used to be, and maybe it's building back up to that point. But it's hard for me to imagine the O-line having a good day against all these great athletes on the Ohio State defensive line. Wisconsin's hope has to be in this game. Maybe they force a couple of turnovers. Nick Herbig gets a strip sack. They get a short field. They got to be able to run the ball. They got to be able to run the ball against this front. Obviously, Graham Mertz is improved, but he's not throwing for 250, 300 yards against Ohio State. You got to try to shorten the game. You got to try to keep the ball out of the hands of C.J. Stroud, Travion Henderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Emeka Egbuka, everybody on that Ohio State offense. I can't see Wisconsin matching up with Ohio State's passing offense. Badgers on defense, Jim Leonard's got to come up with a game plan to try to contain the running game and get after C.J. Stroud and get him running around. You know, I mentioned that Notre Dame game before. Jim Leonard, watch what Notre Dame did getting into the backfield. Okay? If Notre Dame in that football game had a better offense, I think that would have been a much closer game down to the wire. But they couldn't really move the ball much on offense. Credit to Ohio State's defense. If Wisconsin can learn from that and say, hey, if we can churn off first downs, we can continue to convert third downs, maybe we can keep our offense on the field longer, we can keep their offense off the field, maybe we got a shot. Want to hear what you guys think about this one? Ohio State, Wisconsin. Let me hear your thoughts, comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Big Ten Ted. I'm Big Ten Ted, and we will see you in the next one.